Well, hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, and a good evening of wonders that we have. I say evening for me because, of course, I'm based in the UK. But first of all, let me welcome you to your weekly dose of the Network Marketing Magazine podcast. We are here regular as clockwork. All right, back to the old clockworks that just kept on ticking and kept on going. We just never stop ticking and keeping on going. And I'm delighted to share with you that we have another episode of amazing updates through from the magazine point of view. But more importantly, we have a special guest there to share more insight about our health and wellness at a whole different level. So for those that don't know me, my name is Ghazala Jabin, known to most people as the number one marketing machine. And I'm on the scene to help you and your team. And of course, I don't do this alone, and nobody is a great winner on their own. It always involves a team of people. And if you are watching, I just would like to share with you that if you are receiving the live broadcast right now across our different platforms, from LinkedIn to Facebook to Insta to wherever that you're actually receiving these, make sure that you invite your teams. Make sure that you click on the button to share and share it to your private groups as well, so that you're actually helping your teams grow with the education and knowledge of this industry. This industry, as you probably already know, is one of the biggest industries that's putting together from the movie industry, the sports industry, the music, sports, and I can't remember the other one, but anyway, putting all those three industries together, the network marketing is actually an industry that supersedes all of those in far as figures and the amount of people involved in this industry. Myself, I've been with the industry for over 35 years, and I'm proud with the other leaders that are part of our panels. We have our guest speakers and also our contributors in the magazine as well. So without further ado, what I would like to do is, of course, bring the man who's responsible for all of this. If we have things to blame, we blame it on the CEO. It's always good to blame on the CEO. And let me introduce you to the one and only, the Mr. famous George Madu, the founder, the CEO of the Network Marketing Magazine. Welcome, George. How are you?
Blame it on me. Blame it on me. I'm great. I'm unbelievable.
George, what I'd like to do now is I would like you to introduce to us the guest you've got on the George Madu show, because people who don't know, this is the world famous George Madu show. Mr. George Madu himself has had the opportunity of having legendary people in his conversations, lounges, sipping cocktails or whatever and chilling out with the best of the industry. And still to this day, he hasn't stopped, only he's taking it virtually now. So I usually have a cocktail or a mocktail in the backstage, and then we bring them to the front, and George continues to shake hands, have a dialogue in a very conversational way. But what he does do brilliantly is really gets to share their experience of who they are, what they've done, how they do it, and bring some insights to our listeners and viewers for the value that we want to give them. So without further ado, I'm going to take a back seat, and George, I'm going to let you take over and invite our wonderful guest, who I already have known this lady, and I just already have invited her to my house in the UK, and I think she's going to get to my house before George Madu does. But we'll see who actually crosses the line over to my house. But I'll take a back seat and have a little cup of tea. And George, it is your George Madu show, and I'll let you take over and introduce everybody, our guest. Over to you.
I appreciate you guys. So here's the deal. Our guest today for the second visit is my friend and contributor to the Network Marketing Magazine, Lach Daigle. And I'm excited to bring her back to talk about her brand new book, The DNA Advantage. Patty's passion is sharing healthy living through her DNA advantage. Patty's is a LinkedIn social media trainer, a professional connector, and a healthy living advocate. She will share and with, what can I say, with proactive steps to support your genetic health through proper nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle choices, so you can empower yourself to live healthier and more vibrant life. Isn't that something that we all want? Welcome back to the show, the George Madu Show. Patty.
Thank you so much, George. That was perfectly said. I really appreciate you inviting me back. It's been such a great journey with you these past couple of years.
Well, I had to bring you back because you've got a brand new book out.
I do.
And yeah, there you go. So tell me about the DNA advantage.
Well, George, what brought me into this passion of mine with epigenetics and learning about DNA health is when I got sick 5 years ago, and none of the doctors I went to could figure out what was wrong with me. And I had lost 30 pounds in 6 months. I lost all my muscle tone. I felt like the Wicked Witch of the West going, I'm shrinking. My immune system was just shutting down. And my friend came to me and said, have you tried epigenetic testing? And me, like most other people, will say, what is that and what is it going to do for me? Well, epigenetics is how your behavior and the environment around you can change the way your genes work. Because your genes in your epicenter, which is at the top of our DNA sequence, are like little dimmer switches, and they can be turned on and off and dimmed higher and lower. So they don't always function the same. Well, like, okay, so I did that testing, and I wanted to be able to do what she did, because the doctor that I went to with those results managed to fix me. I am 122 pounds now. I'm 66 years old, and I feel amazing. So I found a company that did nutritional genomics, which is how your body can change or be modified with the proper nutrition. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's really a new journey for me to take. And the more I learned about it, it's like when food can turn on and off your genes, the way they're running your body, and which they control, your genes control your heart, your immune system, your energy levels, how your body detoxes, your brain functions, and how your gut runs all of that. I was in 100%. So this is what prompted me about 8 months ago to start this book. And I put it down and picked it up and put it down and picked it up, and then decided I got to get this done. So I sat at it for 2 months and chatted with the publisher, GWN Publishing out of Florida, and we got it done. And it, to me, I'm reading it back and forth to myself. I'm using it for different things. I give it away as a free gift if somebody orders a test kit. It's been very educational and very helpful.
That's incredible. So, so you give it away with a test kit. So
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming that if I want to know what's going on inside of me, I would end up testing.
Yes, sir. That is true.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that. What does that look like?
You get this little box with all kinds of little, well, not all kinds of littles. You get 2 swabs, one for each cheek. little containers that have a code on it and a envelope to mail it all back in that's prepaid. And what happens is those little vials that get sent back have no connection to your name when they're sent to the lab. So if people are worried about, oh, their information's being sold, the lab can't sell it because they don't have any of your personal information. All of the personal information is in a clear and HIPAA-certified computer, and the company has your link to that code that's on your box. That's the only people that get that information. And then you who get the results back, you get 4 reports back, and they come straight to the email that you registered the kit with.
So tell me about the four results. What is it that I'm going to end up getting?
Yep. So you get a healthy.
Wait a second. And how does that tie in with all the work that you put in writing this book?
So you get. I was going to pick one up for you. Okay, so for instance, a healthy aging report, what it's going to do, we test for right now 18 actionable genes or SNPs. And on one of the pages, page 13, you get a page that looks like this with yellow, red, and green dots. And these tell you whether you received no copies, you didn't get that gene from either one of your parents. You got 1 copy, that meaning you got that gene from one of your parents, or there's a 2, which means you got that gene from both of your parents. So with that analysis, it goes back to show you later on in your aging report what the gene is for, what your results are, what the purpose of that gene is, and how that gene is important to you, and dietary recommendations. And with all those dietary recommendations, the last page of this report is supplemental facts that get put together, and they compound a nutrition specifically based on your body's DNA needs. So you're not guessing what vitamins you need from A to Z, or standing in front of shelf after shelf upon nutritional supplements that you don't know what to take, how much to take, if it's even going to help you, where these reports are going to give you all that information. And you're going to get what you need in one complete bottle of supplements.
Okay, so that's interesting. So what it's going to end up telling me is what I'm deficient in, which may in fact be the reason why I have certain ailments or certain issues that is occurring today or been occurring all my life. Is that true?
That is true. I think my most favorite story, George, is 29 years ago, my husband and I, after we got married, attempted to have a family. We each had a child, but we wanted a child between us. And I had 3 pregnancy losses. It wasn't till I did these testing that I found out that I had a folate problem. My body just could not convert folate to folic acid. And to have a full-term pregnancy and to have a healthy child without folate issues, you need to be able to convert that folate. And you need a methylated folate, and that's getting beyond what this conversation should be. But in my nutrition, I now have the folate and the B12 and all of the other supplements that I need for what my body is calling for.
Wow, that's interesting. So so I'm going to keep on tying it back to your brand new book, right? So how does your book enter into what you're doing? You obviously have created a knowledge base in this science, but is the book was the book written so that, as a scientist friend of mine said, you're great at marketing, but you stink at science. So would the book help me?
I believe it will definitely help you and anyone else that reads it. I wrote it at a level between 8th and 10th grade. I wrote it at the level where I was when I first started learning about it. There are a couple of pages that go a little bit deeper, but like chapter 11 is called Defining the Genes. And I break down what the genes are in the testing and how you can learn about how to eat better, how you're maybe you're having lipid issues like your HDL, LDL are not level, your triglycerides. Ever since I've been on my nutrition, mine are normal, normal, normal. My heart, a lot of people have heart issues. Once they start getting on the right supplementation to correct the issues that are causing their heart to have some problems, many of them have less heart issues. Palpitations disappear because sometimes it's all homocysteine, and that's corrected with your nutrition.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Um, so the is this for people of our generation? Is this something that, you know, a young couple might want to get the understanding of? Would our teenage kids, would we want them to go through this?
I truly believe that every newborn child should be tested. That for
Newborn.
newborns, we should know from the start what's going on with the genes of that newborn child before we start giving medical care to them of any way, shape, or form. Because you may be giving them things that their body can't handle at an early age or ever. I've got one other story of a 20-year-old young man who in high school had a love of soccer, but all of a sudden he started getting hurt. His muscles were having problems. He ended up having surgery and he had more problems after the surgery. And my brain said, oh, he's having a problem detoxing from the anesthesia, which is one of the DNA groupings. If your body can't detox, you're holding on to things into your lymph node system. So we tested him, and sure enough, he had a detox problem and a couple of other issues. And he started on the nutrition with our detox drops. And within, I'd say, 6 months, he wrote me a letter. In fact, he's a testimonial in my book that he's in college and he hasn't been hurt again since he's been playing soccer now. So that's, I think, my favorite story. But I have also an 84-year-old friend who also started taking the nutrition because it's nutrition for you, and 100% different. Her anxiety is gone. Her arthritis has stopped hurting her as much as it used to. Of course, we can't make medical claims, but if she's just getting the right nutrition in her, things that are not causing inflammation, that pain level is going to be reduced.
So in other words, where we have a tool that gives us more control over our health instead of waiting for it to be a point where we're going to a doctor, but we don't go to a doctor. It many times it turns out to be a number of doctors giving us a number of different things, and you kind of wonder, you know, what's this all about? I'm so glad that Gaz has come back and joined us because I'm sure she's got a bunch of questions for you also.
Yes, and we even test in the UK as well. So
I actually love this topic, Patty, because I actually had exactly what you shared, did the swabs, did the test. And, you're right. You don't realize exactly what your DNA is all about. We often talk about the genetic blueprint, but also we have the epigenetic changes that actually change the genetics in time, where we are, what we're doing. But get a good idea of what we come with, what we're built with, it's such a great indicator of how we navigate through our health and well-being through life with it. And it certainly gave me great insights that I didn't realize. For example, certain foods that are not agreeable to my DNA, which was all the things linking to broccoli or cauliflower or things like that, were not actually agreeable to my DNA. It's funny that the DNA showed that, but when I went to a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, he was telling me to avoid it, and I went, no, I don't want to. I like my vegetables and everything, but then I knew it wasn't working well with me. But when I had the DNA, it confirmed that that's some of the areas of foods, because we talk often about superfoods and about nutrients and well-being, but what one superfood is not always a superfood is a superfood somebody else, because the DNA of ours is actually telling us that you're made like this, and that's not necessarily the area that you can go with. But you're right about the structure of our body, from the muscles, because it showed up the memory aspect, the hair loss aspect, and of course my dad, he's bold as anything, right? I mean, we used to polish his head and sort of have a little laugh. And he said, one day you'll lose your hair. And I was like, no, Dad, no, we're not. But actually, when I started to lose some of my hair, I've got the dad genes. And, it's a lot, a great way to see where our family background comes in, what we've inherited in the DNA, what do we have to do to focus on our future generation children. And as you said, when they are young as well, it's important to know, can we do the very best for better improved life? So, Paddy, I'm so glad you shared some of that. And also I'm glad that you shared the box and how simple it is to do it, because it is simple. People kind of scare themselves thinking, oh my God, what am I dealing with? And all this. And also the fact is coded and it's safe. And to be honest, most people worry more about things like that, and yet most of their information is readily available through other sources. So I don't know why they worry too much about that anyway. But but I'm with you on it, and I wanted to put my penny's worth to say I had the value, because it did test my muscle mass and other parts that I didn't realize why I had issues until I had the DNA side of the testing done, and then it was like, that makes sense then. So we improve our lives based on those basics. So I just wanted to thank you for highlighting it, sharing what's involved and more about it. But I'm keen to read your book, because it's going on my book list anyway, because it's a subject of interest. What I want to ask you is, when we do a test, like now, let's say, when we talked about younger ones, because of the epigenetics that are changing our DNAs as well over time, how often should one have these tests? What's the drill with that?
So our DNA is our DNA. That whether we receive 1, 2, or no copies of those genes, that part doesn't change. It's within the DNA strands itself that can be modified with the right nutrition. So if it's damaged due to many different things, oxidative stress or an accident or the foods we eat or the chemicals in our products, or so many things can change our epigenetics that you don't have to be retested. You just need to be aware that, oh, I should not eat spinach, shrimp, high histamine foods because I have a high histamine intolerance. So I know that otherwise my stomach will start to bloat and I have inflammation and my arthritis starts to hurt. So I cut that out. The other thing, like you're saying, potatoes, tomatoes, eggplants, all nightshades is something else I learned that I cannot eat. That also causes inflammation in me. So unless you know what's going on within your genes, you cannot live your healthiest life because you're just going to be feeding your stuff. And something that I learned about in the last 6 months, because I read labels about everything, and there's an app called Yucca, Yuka.
I know that one. Yes.
Yeah. So I scan almost everything, all cosmetics, all food packages. And if you scan a package of potato chips or some cereal or cosmetics, you might have the living patoots scared out of you to see what hazardous ingredients are in what we are feeding our kids and feeding ourselves. And
Absolutely.
I also learned this past week, it's funny enough, because we are marketing a coffee, it's called a neurotrophic coffee. There is a gene in our brain because not all of our DNA is in every part of our body. As I mentioned earlier, some are in our heart, some are our immune system, some are energy. But one of our brain genes is called the BDNF, the brain-derived neurofactor gene. And that gene is a culprit for cognitivity issues. Well, our coffee uses the whole coffee cherry, the red coating plus the bean itself, and it's full of antioxidants. So it helps to feed that gene what it needs to stay healthier.
Wow. Impressive. And yes, people can't see this, but there's a little carrot of Yucca app as well. So again, I was told that by a youngster. So what's interesting is that young generation people are being aware of the ickies in products that they shouldn't be having, and it's great to get them educated. And one of the things I would say for people watching on replay and watching either live, please make sure that you do share this information on your pages, because this is about education, this is about choices, this is about the things that's put out there for us that we can actually look to, reach out to, like Patty, just reach out to her and ask questions and be more enlightened, educated, and encouraged to get the right type of things for your better health. So yeah, that's marvelous. I really appreciate that, Patty. Thank you so much for bringing some of that attention to us.
Another funny quick story this weekend. I'm sorry, George, but my granddaughter turned 8 and all she wanted was this new water bottle that you put cartridges in and it makes flavored water. Well, we went to go look at it and I turned around to look at the label, and my 10-year-old granddaughter, she says, "Mammy, try the app on that and see what's in it." So we did the app on it and I said, "Here you go, Brie, I'll read it to Audrey." And she says, "Oh, Audrey, you don't want to do this." We put the whole thing back on the shelf.
That's exactly right. That's exactly, the youngsters are educated. That's marvelous. I love stories like that when you can bring the reality in home as well, and everybody's kind of working in that. George, over to you. I'm just conscious of the time, so last thing I want to say.
What I want to do is I want to put out there the link to get your book and a link for people. How can a person get a hold of you?
Well, I am on Facebook, Patty Lach Daigle. I also have my own website. I'll put it in here right now. YourDailyNourishment.com. I actually got my LLC this last week, so I'm official.
There you go. That's great. So,
Congratulations on going official there, Patty. Well done.
Thank you. But I am on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. You can pretty much catch me anywhere.
that's great. Well, it's been great having you. You know, I have an unfair advantage. I get to talk to you often.
And I love it.
And so it's just great having you back on the show because you really add so much and lend so much to people on information that's really critical. And I appreciate you and I appreciate what you do. So what would you like to leave us with in the last couple of minutes that we have?
Well, you made a note. There's like 300 million entrepreneurs out there doing network marketing. You know, I'd say for those who are with my reach, have your testing done, because if you want to keep your business going strong with all the stressors sometime that can come after us on being an entrepreneur, it might behoove you to know what's going on with your genes and your health to let you live your strongest and healthiest life.
That's great.
And grab the book. It'll give you some really good information. And I did get that information from at least 5 to 10 different holistic doctors and some of the best healthy living people out there on the social media. So
That's great.
I didn't just make it up.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today, and we're absolutely going to have you back because there's always something brand new in your life, and it's really exciting to listen to you. So
Thank you, George.
thank you for being on the
Thank you.
George
Thank you,
Show.
Patty.
No,
Thank
you're
you for
welcome.
sharing
I'll
your
see you
wisdom.
in Wales.
Yeah, absolutely. My doors are open. If you like, I'll throw the red carpet out. If you like, I'll open something healthy, like a nice healthy smoothie. If you tell me what your DNA says you can and can't have, I'll make sure I make one for you. How good is that?
That sounds perfect.
Okay, you have take a seat in the backstage there, Patty. Thank you for being with us. Much love and
Thank you.
respect.
Thank you so much, George.